The practice of digital India. Data protection framework in India. 7 key principles. Introduction. Instrumentally, a firm legal framework for data protection is the foundation on which data driven innovation and entrepreneurship can flourish in India. Fostering such innovation and entrepreneurship is essential if India is to lead its citizens and the world into a digital future committed to empowerment, experiment, and equal access. Towards this end, data protection principles are designed to protect the personal information of individuals by restricting how such information can be collected, used, and disclosed. The Government of India has published a white paper on data protection in India and sought public comments on the same. Data protection framework in India, 7 key principles. Principle number 1, technology agnosticism. The law must be technology agnostic. It must be flexible to take into account changing technologies and standards of compliance. Principle number 2, holistic application. The law must apply to both private sector entities and government. Differential obligations may be carved out in the law for certain legitimate state aims. Principle number 3, informed consent. Consent is an expression of human autonomy. For such expression to be genuine, it must be informed and meaningful. The law must ensure that consent meets the aforementioned criteria. Principle number 4, data minimization. Data that is processed ought to be minimal and necessary for the purposes for which such data is sought and other compatible purposes beneficial for the data subject. Principle number 5, controller accountability. The data controller shall be held accountable for any processing of data, whether by itself or entities with whom it may have shared the data for processing. Principle number 6, structured enforcement. Enforcement of data protection framework must be by a high-powered statutory authority with sufficient capacity. This must coexist with appropriately decentralized enforcement mechanisms. Principle number 7, deterrent penalties. Penalties on wrongful processing must be adequate to ensure deterrence. More information on data protection framework can be availed by visiting the following URL.